The morning of my son's funeral was clinically organized. I ironed a small navy suit he would never wear again. I adjusted a framed photograph of him smiling with a missing front tooth. I confirmed the burial, time with the cemetery office, and thanked them for their professionalism, as if I were planning a conference instead of lowering my 5-year-old into the ground. My phone vibrated while I stood beside the casket. A message from my wife. Sorry. Important business meeting. I'll call tonight. There was no emoji, no follow-up, just efficiency. I read it once. Then I placed the phone back into my pocket and continued shaking hands. The service moved forward in muted tones. Family members arrived with red eyes and careful voices. My sister stood close to me as if proximity could keep me upright. When the officiant asked if either parent wanted to speak, he glanced toward the empty chair in the front row. I stepped forward alone. My voice did not break. That surprised me. I spoke about my son's habit of asking impossible questions, about how he insisted on tying his own shoes even when he failed, about how he believed adults were only tall children pretending to understand the world. I did not mention his mother. I did not need to. Her absence was visible in every photograph where only one parent stood beside him. After the burial, my brother-in-law approached me cautiously. I didn't want to say this today, he began, but someone sent me something. He showed me his phone. A social media post. A beach in Hawaii. White sand. A tagged location. My wife in sunglasses holding a drink beside a man I recognized from a company holiday party 2 years ago. The timestamp was from that morning. I handed the phone back without comment. I had suspected something before the hospital. Late meetings, distant calls, but suspicion dissolves when a child gets sick. Everything narrows to survival. You assume the other parent will close ranks. She didn't. That evening, alone in our house, I walked into my son's room and sat on the edge of his bed. The silence was not dramatic. It was structured. His toys were aligned in the corner because I had cleaned earlier. Needing order somewhere, grief is physical. It sits in your throat. But beneath it, something colder began forming. Not rage, assessment. The next morning, I called our family attorney. I requested an appointment to review our estate documents and financial structures. My tone was steady. I explained that circumstances had changed. In his office, I signed revisions that removed her from executorship and restructured primary asset control. There was no theatrical announcement, just paperwork processed under fluorescent lighting. This will initiate separation protocol once filed, the attorney said carefully. I understand. Authority does not shout, it stamps. She called 3 days later. Her voice carried manufactured heaviness. I just landed. I'm so sorry I couldn't make it back in time. The flights were... You were in Hawaii, I said. Silence. It was complicated, she replied. It isn't. Another pause. I could hear air conditioning through her phone. You don't understand everything, she tried. I understand enough. I informed her that I had begun legal separation proceedings. I told her the estate documents had been amended. I spoke plainly, without raising my voice. You're doing this now? She asked, disbelief breaking through. After everything? Yes. You think this is about a trip? Her tone sharpened. No, I said. It's about a pattern. She shifted tactics. Anger first, then accusation, then woundedness. I listened without interruption. I noticed how quickly grief disappeared from her voice once control felt threatened. You're punishing me, she said finally. I'm protecting what's left. The call ended without resolution. Over the following weeks, paperwork moved forward. Friends divided themselves quietly. Some called me strong. I did not feel strong. I felt rearranged. I visited my son's grave every Sunday morning. I brought small toy cars and lined them beside the headstone. I spoke to him about ordinary things and weather, work, the stray cat that had begun sleeping near the porch. One afternoon, she appeared at the cemetery. She looked thinner. Sunglasses again, though the sky was overcast. "I didn't think you'd still be angry," she said. "I'm not angry?" She studied me, perhaps searching for evidence of fury she could respond to. "This didn't have to destroy us," she added. I looked at the stone between us. "It didn't," I said quietly. "We did!" The truth settled without drama. Losing a child exposes every weakness in a marriage. Some couples break from the weight of grief. Ours fractured from absence long before the funeral. She reached toward the headstone, then hesitated, as if unsure of her right to touch it. "I loved him," she whispered. "I know," I said. "Love is not the same as presence." We stood there in silence, not reconciled, not explosive, just separated by something irreversible. When I left, I did not look back at her, not out of cruelty, but clarity. Grief did not make me decisive. It made me honest. I could survive losing my son only by refusing to lose myself in the process. The marriage will end in courtrooms and signatures, not shouting. The child we buried will remain the only thing we ever created perfectly together, and some absences speak louder than betrayal ever could.